I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, hey, let's make learning great again, huh? You know,
Malga, is that?
make learning, yeah, yes, make learning great again because people don't like reading too long. You know, just like how I said earlier, how people have like a short attention span and
Mm-hmm.
they can only like pick up a little bit of information at a time before they get like distracted by something
Mm-hmm.
because that's how society is. And when I say society, I meant to say like technology is, right? Like
Yeah.
posts are so small, such as tweets, you know,
Mm-hmm.
even like articles, rather than seeing the whole thing, you see little bites, you know.
Headline.
Or now they're even doing like um TLDRs for articles now.
What's
So
that?
too long didn't read, so they'll just give you like snippets of what this paragraph is about.
Mm.
And then even worse are like not to beat them up, but you have like these services now. Rather than me reading a book, they're gonna they have a person. I pay not me, but people basically pay $15 a month to have a service give you a summary of books rather than you read the book.
I heard about that. I heard about that. Oh, what's his name? Who does that? He's the guy who I know back in the day when YouTube used to have the. Well, I mean, they still do the ads, but his ad was the one with he shows you all his Lamborghinis in his garage. I just can't remember his name
Oh,
right now.
Ty Lopez.
That there it is. Ty
Ty
Lopez. I heard he started that business where it's just like it's like Netflix, but it's like here's a bunch of information from a book, and we're gonna give it to you real fast, which I'm not 100% against. I like
Mhm.
that idea. It's better than nothing. But yeah, you're right. I think that the problem with information is it's slow. Good information.
Right.
It's slow to come by, right? Because it takes diligent research, and you have to go through all the correct branches to have it reviewed appropriately. So it's slow to come by. It's boring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not that exciting. Good research is not, and maybe researchers should buddy with Curtis Jackson. Maybe they can come
Yeah.
up with a hybrid approach where they can make learning exciting again. But yeah, I think that's some of the biggest issues, and it requires a person to put work into developing their IQ.
Yes.
And I think that's a slight against maybe the educate. I don't really know who to blame on this one, but maybe the education
We could
system.
just blame Betsy DeVos. Let's just blame her.
She quit though.
Oh,
you know what? She has a backbone. She has a backbone. She
yeah,
said,
a few of them quit.
"I'm not putting up with this anymore." At least in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, last 2 weeks, right? All it took was an insurrection.
A little
Jesus
insurrection.
Christ.
A little insurrection. And she was like, you know what? I don't think my job is safe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you've been working with a nut job this whole time. He killed about 400,000 Americans. But hey,
Hey, there it goes. Oh man, yeah. I that is one nice thing is that, and I don't know what more evidence people need to see who Trump really is, but seeing all these people quit, seeing as many people quit, in his tenure as has quit, seeing politicians speaking out against him in ways that I have not heard them speak out against, someone in their own party before.
Yep.
I just think that, him losing the popular vote 2 elections in a row, I think that people aren't, completely too far to reach. I think that there is a lot of hope.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to find. You know what I mean? I think there's like
still have faith
7 pessimists. I'm sorry, 7 optimists who we meet up in a diner every Thursday and talk about, the sports. But I think there's some hope in all of this.
I'd like to think so too. I think there's hope, and I still have hope for America. I don't think things are as doom and gloom as the media.
Yeah.
I think I think some people are gonna like turn. People are turning on him already. They're already seeing that he's like a fraud and all that stuff.
Right.
There was like during the insurrection, there were people like online crying about, wait a second, he just left? What, you thought Trump was gonna take part in the riot? He's not a general. Jeez. They thought he was like Leonidas, you know?
Yeah. They prompt him up to be much greater than he actually was because they listened to his words and not his actions. You know what I mean? He says he's this great, and you know, I just find it so hard to believe. You go, the entire system is flawed, and the system that elected me did a good job because now that I'm here in this flawed system, I can correct this flawed system that was correct enough to elect me.
Yeah,
but it doesn't make those truths. Those two truths can't exist. It makes no sense to me. You know.
Yeah. Well, I just hope America gets back. Well, I don't know. Okay. Actually, wait. I kind of think in a weird, it's like a fire victory. When I mean that is just like everybody was asleep before, when Obama was around and all that stuff. So people thought like him becoming the black president, that was an act of racism. But
it's over now.
Yeah. You have a black president, take it.
We did it. It's gone now. That's the end of racism. We did it. Yay.
But I will say, like, this Trump thing has woken people up. People who were not involved in politics, didn't think about politics. Now everybody is forced to wake up and see the world for what it really is. The whole world sees America for what it is. Like the veil has been lifted. So now people are paying attention, So now, the veil of supremacy, with America being like, the top thing. And, what I meant to say is like how they come off we're a powerful nation, but in reality, we're a nation still looking for its soul, So
I like that.
Oh, I got some wisdom. Deep. I got some wisdom because I could say the same thing about like I'm sorry I keep using this Haitian pastor as a example, but you
poor Haitian pastor.
I know, right? I'm not gonna say his name, because I like his children. So it's like you have someone who boasts as if they're powerful, and then they're really just a tortured soul. And that's what America's dealing with right now. We're not New Zealand and all that stuff. America needs healing, bro. And that's going to take a while. So I think you're going to have a lot of business.
Yeah. I agree with you so much in that, one, America is trying to find its soul. And that, I think a couple good things came out of all of this. One, you got to see how much the checks and balances, we learn about it in, government and political science classes, right? America has all these checks and balances, but you don't really care about it. You just all right, they're there, right? We just got to pass this exam so that I can graduate, but now you like it. This is a real live example of why these checks and balances are needed, because every branch of government has, activated in order to keep Trump's crazy ideas in line.
We just lived, we just lived a case study, bro.
We lived a case study. Every single branch. We lived from the House to the Congress to the Supreme Court, to all the other judicial systems. We have lived a real life case study. And I think it is quite impressive that American democracy survived it barely, but survived it. And moving forward, I think that people need to move in the direction of empathy, because if we had been empathetic from the beginning, people would have known that, whether politics or not, the things that Trump was saying were divisive, and they, incited violence and hatred towards groups of individuals who, you can't, judge a group of people for an individual's actions. And, for us to hate Muslims and Mexicans and whomever else was just wrong and not empathetic at all. And hopefully you move in a direction where we say, okay, our leaders need to care about the people they're serving,
Yes,
and yeah, that's that.
Well, in closing, all I hope is that God saves America.
Yes.
Save this country. Because even I've come to the point where I even pray for leaders. I pray for their wisdom because I never used to even pray for that. But do you have any parting words for the people who are listening? A message of hope? Because like they really need it today.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why I said I'm one of those crazy optimists, because I have a lot of very hopeful things that I saw. One is that
thank God.
One, Georgia turned blue. I think that in and of itself,
okay, yes,
like
that.
This is the same city where almost every large scale racial action happened, and you have two senators who, at least in my opinion, are very empathetic.
Yes.
One a reverend, the other, the first time they've ever elected a Jewish. That's amazing. I think that's very good.
Yeah.
So that's my optimism. One. Two, you got to see that all the branches of government matter. So, people care to vote, and you saw that their vote mattered, because without their votes, without electing the right people in place, Trump would have went rampant, and he would have done the work. He had the House, you know what I mean? He had the Senate, and he would have done the worst things possible, right? Had people not had good conscience, even in his, all those Supreme Court justices are, most of them are now red, and even they were able to dig into their conscience and say, for some of the things that he was saying, no. Yeah. And he was like, what are you guys doing? So I do think good people are out there, right? So that's, well, at least empathetic people. So that's two. And then three, my hope, and I'm hoping that, after social media is finding its own conscience, and other news outlets are finding, and other media outlets, I should say, are finding their own conscience, are starting to say, all right, it's time for us to put out correct information and prove, this is the reason we have citations, prove that the information is credible, and we can't just put ludicrous information out there, so that people can make informed decisions,
Brother,
so that's my hope.
Thank you, because I needed that for myself. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to the gentleman from Southside, and you've been listening to Joel, I'm going to say it right, Kwame.
There you go.
You can find him at jkcounseling.com, or I know you youngsters, you can go to Instagram and just type in JK Counseling. He's a therapist. Contact them if you need anything. Thank you.
Yes.
Sir.
Amazon deliveries. Anything at all.
And we're out.